Okay, so welcome to the Virginia Museum of History and Culture. My name is Laura Stoner, and this is Emily Raymond, and we're here interviewing Quan Schneider and her parents, Joe and Kim Tien.
Tiet.
Tiet, sorry, excuse me. And we are talking about your experiences leaving Vietnam and coming to the United States. Kim, could you please tell me your full name and where you were born?
My name is usually I'm Vietnam. I call Kim Kim. Yeah, Kim Thiện.
Uh-huh.
And I born in Vietnam, Saigon.
Okay, what year were you born?
Uh, what year?
What year?
1955.
1955. And then what were your parents' names?
My parents' name is Khai Thạch. This is my mother name, and my father is Ngo Chu.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And what did they do in Vietnam?
My mom just house, just a
Housewife?
housewife, and my father at work.
Uh-huh.
He used to drive a big truck.
He drove a big truck. What kind of things did he drive? Did he like transport materials or did he work for a specific
He
company?
drive from usually on 1970 some in American army right there. They drive all the on the warehouse.
Uh-huh.
What they call like all kind of food or something from this warehouse to the another one. This is from American warehouse. Yeah, they do.
Okay, for the American government.
Yeah.
And did you have any siblings?
What's that? That's it.
Do you have brothers?
Brothers and sisters.
Oh yeah. I have 3 old brother and 2 old sister, and what, one younger sister, one younger sister, and 3 younger brother.
That's a lot of children.
Yeah.
And did they all come to the U.S. eventually?
No, when I get married, I live Vietnam with my husband's side family, and my older brother, and I got my father, my older brother, the family 5, and my one sister, and my one younger father or younger brother, and all
Because the boat is
the
sinking.
both, yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Total 45 people in,
I'm very sorry to hear that.
and only one my brother lied, only one.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and right now he in United States. Yeah, I still got one. I still have 3 brother and 2 sister in the United States, and my mother. But my mother passed away 4 years ago.
Mhm.
Were they all in Virginia?
All in Virginia, only one brother in California.
Okay.
Joe, can you tell me your full name?
Yeah, my name is Joe T.
Okay. And
I'm born in 1955.
were you born in what part of Vietnam were you born in?
It's the Saigon.
Okay. And what were your parents' names?
And my father's name is Tan, Thenh. And my mother's name is Ngoc, Ngoc.
And what did they do in Vietnam?
Well, my father had a business, and my mother had a business too.
Mm-hmm. They both had businesses.
Yeah.
What did they do in their business? Did they sell something?
Yeah. My mother business is selling the paint.
Paint.
Yeah. And my father business fixes some kind the oil for people fixing the boat. when the boat is made by wood, so they should have the gap.
To kind of like make it waterproof?
Yeah.
Yeah, like that.
Uh-huh.
So they first of all they seal the crack. Second of all is the waterproof.
And so he had a pretty good, did both of your families have a pretty good lifestyle in Vietnam prior to the war starting?
Yeah. And in Vietnam, for my family, we have nothing to worry about. So that's enough food for the whole family. And before my grandpa passed away, he tell my father, say you have to try help all your relatives like usually he do. My grandpa do it.
Mm-hmm. Did you have any siblings?
Brother and sister. Yeah.
Yeah, I got 3 younger brother and 2 younger sister. I'm the older one in the family.
Mm-hmm. And so did you guys, what kind of education did you guys have in Vietnam growing up?
Until high school.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm up in the high school, and then a lot of people tell me, say, you can go and continue going to school, and then you don't have to go to the service. I said, nah, I'm so tired. I'm so tired for the school, so I'm a join the military.
Okay. And so did you get to pick how you served in the military? Like were you in the ground troops or in the Air Force?
And they're going to, it's the army.
So in the Army. And
How old were you when you joined?
18.
Okay.
yeah, very young. So what year would that be?
I think it's January 1973.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And so you had served 2 years before you two got married?
Yeah, I joined the military in 73 and we get married in 1975.
So how did you two meet?
Well, we usually meeting at the school.
So did you attend the same school?
Yeah.
And how did you feel about joining the military? Was it a patriotic thing?
Well, I say when the Vietnam War, you don't know when to be end. Almost 99% people thinking the war should be continuing for another 20, 30 years. Everybody thinking like that. Then in 1975, the president for 2 day president, and they talk on the radio, say, everybody stay in place and leave your gun. A lot of people getting, wow, what's going on? All of a sudden, tell you drop your gun and surrender for the communists. A lot of people getting crazy.
Yeah, I can imagine. Panic.
Yeah, panic. And I'm in the military, and my commander, he suicide.
Mm.
He didn't want to face what was
He
coming.
don't want to. He say, when the communists come in, I will die for them. So why I just don't take care of myself? And he going suicide. He had a 45, and they put down here and one shot.
Right in front of all of you? Right in front of his men?
No, but when the last day, all the commander go to meeting in his office, and some of them say we fight with them, and he asked, "If you go fighting, who support you? First for the food, You got that many people. Second is, who supply you all the weapon and the ammo?
Mm-hmm.
You without support everything, so it doesn't matter how good you fighting. You guys will die anyway. He said, I don't like to see my men die on the last minute. And they called it at the hour 25.
Hour 25.
Yeah. He said, I don't want to see my men. The whole time they fighting, they won't die, and then they die in the last minute, in the hour 25. So he said, okay, we get up, because the Saigon, the president already on the radio talked about everybody drop your gun and the wars are over. And a lot of people cannot accept it.
Well, how did you feel about the military, the South Vietnamese military, and the fact that the U.S. really, in 1973, you lost a lot of the military support of the personnel in Vietnam? Did you notice a difference between, because you started right then when that probably was going on, that it was a very dramatic drop in American troops.
Mm. The U.S. pulled out. Before fighting, we got the U.S. soldier come with us. When the U.S. pull out, so every time you want to try to call the airport for help, you never have it.
So you couldn't get any air support in your.
You just, maybe you're lucky. The airplane come in, drop a couple bombs, and then they go. They say, yeah, I already run out of everything.
So they didn't have as much ammunition as when the U.S. was involved in the conflict.
Everything it gets short. Even the ammo we use it, they count every bullet for you guys, for all the soldiers. Say he see anyone, people throw it all over the place, and then you just pick it up. Like we use the M16.
Uh-huh.
So most bullet they have is just M16.
So you're saying like you had to look for ammunition that had been, if it was around, then you would pick it up?
No, but when the U.S. are over there,
Uh-huh.
the soldiers said, nah, too heavy. They leave it on the side.
Oh, okay.
You're inside the bunker.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they leave the whole box in there. And they see that like a hit the jackpot. Oh, yeah. And they took it.
So what were you doing? So were you guys in a relationship when he joined the army?
I at home.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And how was the home life for you? I mean, you weren't married yet, but your loved one is.
Her mom got business, I just helped.
Okay, so you helped with her
Help,
business.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. So what was Saigon like in the 73, 75 time?
It's more freedom, You don't need to worry. They call you, go to meeting tonight, go to somewhere, Yeah, before 75, like the freedom, we don't need to worry, Just to worry, like, when my husband go to the army, you don't know what happened for next day, Nobody know. Yeah. Just after 75, he come back.
Do you guys have any favorite memories of your time in Vietnam before the war, or before you left?
You mean like?
Holidays or things that you enjoyed?
In Vietnam, different. The holiday only like Christmas and New Year, Yeah, they not much have holiday, The both store open 7 days a week, Yeah.
Okay. Do you all have a first memory of when the war started to affect your lives and how you lived in Saigon?
No, because we born before the war always started.
We born in 55, the start is 1955.
So you're fighting,
54.
the fighting with the French at that.
In 1945, they started fighting in the Vietnam. And then till 75, game is over.
Was there any lull between the French and the U.S. Entrance? Like,
Yeah.
did you have any feeling of peacetime? Of peacetime in that 55 to 75 range?
Well, they have a pita like say New Year, they say stop fighting for 72 hours. 3 days? 72 is 3 days. They say stop fighting. But the communists always wait for that moment. They know we say stop fighting and 3 days we will stop. But for them to try to find that time and sneak it in and fight. That's
Like the Tet Offensive, when they fought in the Tet Offensive on the holidays?
like 1968 and that one.
Yeah.
Say 3 days stop fighting. But they sneak it in before the 3 days. And try to get into all the city, the whole South Vietnam. And then they have an order say, right in the middle of the night, when the first minute stop fighting, and they starting fighting. Even they get in the U.S. embassy on that time. And the U.S. Marine and the embassy have to fight back. And then the South Vietnam soldier had to go helping from the outside fight in, and the U.S. Marine fighting from the inside out. And for the communists, they never tell, okay, I'm gonna follow the rule. No. They say one way, they do the other way. And if they tell you, yeah, you better go in the opposite way. No. That's why we can't live with them. They talk one way, they do the another way. So we have to say, man, everything they talk is all different way. So we can't live with them. So we have to skip out.
So what was your interaction with Americans while they were in your country during the war?
Well, before 75, the American over there, everything have a good support. If anything happened, the U.S. they called it. The airplane come in, the F-5, at that time they got F-4 and F-5 over there. They fire in and support the ground troop right away. After 73, the U.S. leave, and you have a hard time recording one airplane coming to help you.
And did American troops accompany your units at all on the ground?
Yeah, usually they come in, but for my personal thinking, that's not a good idea, because if they put the American troop and the Vietnam troop together, when you walk on the road, the sniper always waiting.
And so the snipers would go for the Vietnamese?
No,
Oh, no, they would go for the Americans.
go for the American, Because first of all, Americans is bigger than
People.
the South Vietnamese too. Second, they taller. Third, I'm sorry to say that the target is the black or the bigger guy and taller guy. The sniper always waiting for the three things: bigger, taller, and black. And they shoot it because it is very easy to see that if you're bigger,
Easier target.
yeah, you're taller, that's the target, and you're black, that's it. And they have all kinds of tricks. You got to find out how they trick, and you starting fixing their problem.
So you're saying like they had booby traps or things like that? Is the trick?
Yeah. You know the bamboo tree,
Uh-huh.
and you walking, all of a sudden you fall in the hole, and all the sharp bamboo is down there, and you fall down. If you're lucky, just go through your feet. You don't, when you fall your whole body down, that's it. Game's over. And if they find out that the trail you always walking, you got always walking, the South Vietnam troop or the U.S. military keep walking, and they hiding the CKC gun in the tree.
They put it in the tree.
Yeah. So you go in there and looking for them, you don't see any guy. They put all the way on the top of the tree. They typing, and they put the string on the trigger, coming down, and put the can down there. And the water bottle, they drop the little hole and keep dripping. If they're heavy enough, the string up all the way up to the trigger should be shoot. They pull the trigger.
Uh-huh.
So you hear the shoot, you say, okay, you hear it from this way, from left or right, and starting going there and looking. And you don't see anyone.
So it's very hard to fight them.
Yeah. And even you found them, it's nobody up there. You only found the gun. If they can use it doing like that, will take a few people, they still on the win side, still on the winning side. And finally we found out why the timing they shooting is every day like that, almost 5-10 minute difference. In one spot, they keep shooting. Sometimes they got nobody, so you see the bullet shoot right in the ground. Why keep going like that? So start working out the math, see if the bullet angle, and then how far they shooting, starting the closer the range, and then a little bit further, and all the way in and find the gun is up the tree. With the string tightening on the trigger and put it down and the water dripping.
Yeah.
That's a very dirty trick.
Yeah. It's a very elaborate trick.
Yeah. That's a dirty trick. We call them a dirty trick. I say, if you have a gun, let's come out and fight. Don't do it like that.
Yeah. Did you have any family that was fighting for the North Vietnamese?
Yeah, I got me and two cousins. And one of the cousins, because of the Vietnam War, as soon as you can walk, your hand can carry something, they just
Did you mean the South Vietnamese?
No, yeah, you're fighting for the South, but did you have, you know, like in the United States, we have the Civil War, and
Oh, yeah.
some people,
Did you have-
it split families.
Was there any family fighting for the North?
No,
Not the South, the North.
So everybody's in the South.
in the South, yeah.
yeah, because when they took over the South Vietnam, and my father said, "Oh Lord, the wars are over." I told my father, I said, "No, the war just started." And they come in, I said, they worse than the hijack.
They take all the business.
They come in, they took everything they can. I say, even you drop the penny on the ground, they will took it.
Did you have any experience with Americans when you were in Saigon?
Not much.
Oh, it's fine.
No, because in the Vietnam, all the women, they
Different
they
in
don't
the
drive-
United States, yeah.
They don't let the women go to the service. The only women go in the service is you volunteer.
Mm-hmm.
You volunteer, you go, and they took it.
How did you or your families feel about the South Vietnamese government between 55 and 75? Did you think it was doing a good job or?
Well,
I don't think so.
Okay.
everything is so messed up there over there.
Uh,
Because all the commanders say, I want to be a bigger guy, and I can control that guy, this guy, that guy. And then everyone almost thinking same thing.
I'm lucky I can come to the United States. Big different.
I mean, after the communist took over the Saigon,
yeah.
you don't have the good sleep at night. If at nighttime you hear somebody come and knock your door, I think your heart almost jump out from your mouth. Say, uh-oh, it's my time. Man, they doing everything. You don't believe it. My dad, he don't know. He say, "Oh, so you guys lucky you coming home and you still survive. It's good." I said, "No, Dad. Communist is a big difference. You better don't believe one single word the communist told you." He said, "Nah, nobody can do that." But finally, he get up. He said, "You right, son."
So is that when you guys started making plans to
Yeah.
come
Yeah,
to?
yeah.
And then we started
Immigrate.
making plans. Say, "No, we got to go find some freedom."
Did you-
So we try to skip that out.
So was the United States your ultimate goal, or was it to just get somewhere else that was safer?
You mean,
So you got to run out from the Vietnam and come to all the refugee camps, like Thailand, Malaysia, Indonesia, Singapore. If you can be there on the refugee camp, and then they will interview you what you do in the South Vietnam. If you in service, you be going first, because on the wartime you go in the service, and a lot of people don't go in the service, they hiding. So if you join the service, they interview you first and then say, okay, you go United States or you go into Canada or France, whatever. As soon as what country interview you, if they accept, you will go in that country. They don't say, you might be going there, going there. No. The first is the United Nations interview, ask you where you want to go. And a lot of people pick the U.S.
Did you But did you want to go to the US or would you have gone to Canada if they said you had to go to Canada?
No, I say, okay, I have family in the Australia at that time already. My aunt family and my father, older sister. And my father said, let's go to Australia. My brother and my sister over there. So we told them, yeah, I want to go to Australia. And you pick 3 countries you want. Whatever country you want to go, you pick 3. And then, like you say, Australia, US, and the
Okay.
third country,
Here's a Canada. Yeah.
and then which one come in interview first? They will call your name, come up to interview. But for my family, it's the US coming first.
You came in first?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they interview all the service people. Whoever have the service for the South Vietnam, it's not just America. Even you work for the U.S. Any kind of work.
Like your father who drove the truck?
But that time my father passed away
Oh,
and the
okay.
vote, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And so you work everything for the South Vietnam government and have to delay with the U.S. They interview you first.
But this is in Thai, when you had gone
At
to
the
Thailand?
refugee camp in Thailand.
Okay, but when you were making your plan to leave Vietnam, how did that happen?
Well, because we can stand with the communists,
Mm-hmm.
so we have to find a way, get out of South Vietnam. It don't. I say, they'll be slowly and killing you.
Were you concerned about the re-education camps being sent to one of them?
Oh, education, the labor camp. I we in the camp for 3 months. That's I first get and I get caught. And they put me in their labor camp.
So when you were serving and your leadership was going through that crisis, is that when they rounded you up to put you in those camps?
No, because the South Vietnam had almost 1 million soldiers. So they don't have,
They didn't have the ability to
they
handle
don't have the labor handle that many people. So they say, soon as you not the officer, they only tell you go in some place like a movie theater. They put people in there, listen what they brainwash. First they 3 days, and then 3 days later say, no, the program is not ending yet, so continue 1 more day. And then the 4th day, they said, no, another day. And people starting talking inside the movie theater and then say, what they say 3 days and then all of a sudden they change it. Now only 5 days. And they say, okay, 2 more days. So finally 7 days. So 2 more days, after the 2 more days, they say, did you guys understand? Yeah, I understand. But we don't know nothing. We have to lie with them and say, yeah, we understand. So, because we don't want to come back again. So they say, okay, everything's over. You guys don't have to come in. Then everybody happy.
Uh-huh. So you could return to your families at that point?
Yeah. Because I'm not the officer.
Okay, uh-huh.
Because the main thing they want is an officer.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that my commander, let's see. I didn't say that.
Okay.
My commander, he don't like comedy at all. He say, man, if the comedy come in, he will kill me. He don't like the comedy at all. Every time they call it the enemy, he said, don't ask them. Even they told you, it's a lie. Don't believe what they say. Because he used to live in the North Vietnam, and then they moved down to the middle part. It's in 1968 they fight like crazy. Where XUE, that city, it's the old capital for the Vietnam. And he said, no, I don't believe them. So he said, whatever the company say, don't believe them. He said, you believe them? Like you going suicide. So from there, I said, no, forget it. Can't live with the company.
So you went to the movie theater and you were re-educated there, but did you go to a separate labor camp that you escaped from?
Mm-hmm.
No?
No.
Yeah, go to the different labor camp. They got so many labor camps they make there in the South Vietnam. And then they starting, like they find out, okay, this guy, sent it to North Vietnam. Because they know if they send you go to North Vietnam, you can't skip. Because when the time they starting in the South Vietnam, a lot of officers, they skip. Like some special forces, they fight the whole time, so they know the way how to skip, even without the what they call it, chỉ dẫn temple.
I mean, jungle?
No, the one always pointing to the north.
Oh, compass.
Compass.
Uh-huh.
Even they don't have the compass. They can look at the sun, and the moon, and the star,
And find their way back.
and they find a way back. I say, man, they good. I mean, when you join the military, you got to know that without the compass, you know, when the old time, the U.S. over there, every single one have the small compass. And then after 73, no one had it. Even you had it in the war, sometimes you lost that, they don't give you no more.
Yeah, and things were confiscated, right? Like cameras and
Mhm.
compasses.
So, first thing we got to learn which way to eat, west, south, north. So, the sun, the moon, and the first star at night. So we're going to learn that. So even we don't have the compass, we know how to go.
What kind of work were you doing at the labor camp?
Well, I'm sorry to say that they always teach you some stupid thing.
Oh, okay. So you weren't working, it was more just propaganda at the labor camp?
They told you go in the jungle, get some wood out, leave it for winter. But he want you to carry 10 pieces of wood a day. But the wood is about half the size of the table long. At least your four fingers can touch together. It's 10 of them, how you carry them out. Because where you're walking, the mud always come to your kneecap. And you got no time to carry 10 of them. So I said, man, even they have all the boat over there, they won't let you use it. And then they try to abuse you, die.
They wanted to break you?
Yeah. They try to kill you by the different way. If they take you out and shoot you right there, we say, hey, they are really bad. And the whole world see that. This way, they kill you slowly. But you don't have the food for enough every day. Second of all, you gotta find the fresh water yourself for drink. But they send you to the area, the water is, even you find the water, you clean, but if you drink that, you will get sick. When you get sick, you got no medicine for you. And then you'll be getting worse and worse every day, and then until you die. So you got to take care of yourself at that time.
And you were back at home. Did you know what had happened to him?
No,
Oh,
yeah. I don't know nothing because just wait for him come back. That's what.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Because you don't have like how to call him or how
Right.
not yeah. That's it.
then how did you reconnect to be able to leave Vietnam? Like, how did you get from back together and then to Thailand?
Yeah,
Oh,
back together. And
oh, come back together like 2 years, like 75, 76, 77. That time we didn't get because
and I
they
talked-
took all the business. They don't have money. Right now we still get little bit money. We need to get out of here.
Uh-huh.
If you use all the money, you will no business to do, and then we still got money with her mom and her father. Then get we whole family leave Vietnam.
Now, first of all, we talk about, my father say, we dividing for 3 groups.
Divide into 3 groups.
And then the first group leave, and then they be in the Thailand and Malaysia when they go home. Then we let the second group go. And that time I heard about the boat people. A lot of people died in that moment. I say, well, I talked to my father. I said, you thinking we dividing 3 groups is the good thinking? I said, no, that's not a good thinking. I said, why we don't just whole family go in one trip? If we survive, all survive. If we die, we all die. Nobody can feel hurt, And finally, my father accepted, and I said, okay, let's go in one group in together. If survive, we all survive. If die, we all die. And that time, Quan only 2 years old.
She for free, she don't need to pay.
She could travel on your lap.
We need to pay money, she don't need that. 2 years.
So did you have to, how did you get the resources to, I assume that you had to pay for your spot
Yeah.
on the boat.
Well, pay by go, not pay by,
Not-
pay by go or pay by US money, not Vietnam money, yeah.
So how did you get those resources? Was it something that you'd been saving since the communists came into power? Did you have to like hide that money?
Yeah, hide it.
All
Yeah,
hide.
all hide it, yeah.
How did your family hide it?
Anyway.
Just lots of little spots.
Some people hide under the flower pot and dig a hole and put all the gold in there, and then put the sugar in the top, and pour some water.
Everybody puts hide different way, yeah.
But was it would you have it in jewelry or would you have it in, like gold art?
Because when you leave, you need pay by gold. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Gold you can hide it, right? And money, like which most big kid save by gold. Yeah.
Okay.
No, because in the Vietnam, the Asian people in the Asia, the people always go and buy gold. And then when the company come in, eh, we know they starting looking for gold. And everybody had.
Did you?
Gold in all forms, probably jewelry, nuggets,
Yeah.
coins, things.
No, mostly they buy the sheep,
Like 9.9, that kind.
Okay.
like the ounce of gold over here, 999, but over there they don't count ounces. They use that one is a little bit over the ounce. I think it's 1 ounce point 2 or something like that. I'm not sure that number.
Because too long.
Did you have any American currency in your?
When the time will come up,
Mm-hmm.
no,
Okay.
because the gold you can sell it anywhere in the world. The U.S. dollar, when the time I'm in Vietnam, they already found some free one. And everybody said, no, I don't know about it. The U.S. money, and no, I don't take it. Gold, they burned it. They found out right away. If you not the gold, they turn black right away.
And you didn't know where you were going. If you would go to Australia or Canada, so you didn't want to be boxed in on your
Yeah,
currency.
yeah. So, but the U.S. dollar, they work everywhere.
Yeah.
I said they work better for the communist.
So how did you choose your boat? In the first, were you on the boat with a bunch of other families?
Mm-hmm.
Did you feel like your boat was overly crowded or?
Just an overcast. We have 195 people in the boat.
That's a small boat.
And the boat only 18 meter. 18 meter about times 3. It's the 1 meter around 3 foot.
How long was the journey?
10 days. Kỹ rồi.
Yeah. They got me a time.
10 days.
10 days.
Did you have to bring your own food and water?
No, just the boat. Yeah, yes,
No.
the boat got much because that time no hungry, just drink water.
Just throw up.
Yeah.
You don't
It's a
have
Get
small
them
boat
sick.
on the
They
South
don't
China
need
Sea,
nothing, just drink water.
Get
Yeah.
them seasick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
But your boat broke down.
yeah. The boat only like go out like 2 days. The engine broke down.
So you were just
Just
Floating.
afloat,
you don't,
adrift.
yeah. And lucky, I don't want to say it. We saw the Thailand, the fish bowl, fishing bowl, but they so nice, yeah. They so nice, and they bring all 190 some people go to that bowl.
Oh, really?
But that time, they bought a lot of fish, They go to,
They go- That's a fishing boat.
fishing boat, inside a lot of fish, yeah. They cook for us to eat.
Oh, wow.
Use
So
it
they
all,
fed
yeah,
you.
yeah. And, but after that, they said, and they go to Singapore,
They take you to.
but Singapore said, no. I give you water, food, get out of my way, you know. And that time, he don't know where he go. He might be go back to Thailand, but he go to Thailand, he government pick chúc cho hai cái mẹ
He was when he go back to Thailand, and the government over there see that he will get bust.
he got need to go to jail.
So the captain of the boat
Yeah,
went to jail because he brought you to Thailand.
Right.
yeah, because they rescue her.
So we didn't. But one thing he said, if you after I take you go to near the refugee camp, you know, the police ask you
Who did
put
it?
it,
Who picked
don't
you
say
in?
nothing. Okay, you
Just
said
say-
I don't know.
Just say that's the fishing boat.
Don't say
don't
no.
know.
Don't say just don't. I don't know. Just okay, you know, because they find that he got problem. We got so sorry for him, you know. But yeah, he's so good. Yeah. And then we said okay. And midnight, they go to the boat and
Right, the duck.
right almost right at the refugee camp. He said, stay here, don't go anywhere. Morning you will see the police. They will take you, go in. Okay. After give me back give little bit food, you know, and he run away.
Oh, but he still got.
He didn't.
Oh, he didn't get caught. Oh,
He
but
don't
he was
get-
he
struck.
don't get
But
caught.
he
Get
was
up,
He
struck.
would
yeah,
have.
yeah.
Yeah.
He know exactly the refugee camp location.
Uh-huh.
So he drive in, he passed the refugee camp, and then all the boat park over there. He said, you guys just walk by boat and get in the land. They stay right there. He said, tomorrow morning, I guarantee the police will see you guys and bring you guys go to camp.
But you don't need to say nothing.
Did you think he had done it before?
What?
Had saved people on a boat before? Like, had he done this before, or was this all just he thought about it, and that was his plan?
No, because he can speak
Chinese.
Chinese or Vietnamese. So even English, we have some pilot go with on the same boat, but he speaks a little bit English, but the captain don't know.
So you're having a hard time communicating between.
Yeah, it's
It's a lot of,
a
like, hand
finger
signals.
hand talk.
But you must have been so relieved to see dry land and.
Yeah.
We're so lucky, yeah.
As soon as you step on the ground, you say, man, this is solid, they don't move. You're so happy.
How is Quan doing, being a 2-year-old?
Just a whole
She holding her the whole time.
whole time. Yeah. If you pee, stay right here. Not go, because you go somewhere and
You try to go in the back, then go in the restroom.
Anytime you drop down, nobody know.
Every time you, in the wake come in,
Yeah.
and they slam on the boat, you be fall into the ocean. You be dying there. You know, in the ocean, it doesn't matter how good you swim. If nobody know, you drop it down there, that's it.
Yeah.
You're over.
Yeah, yeah. And no pirates or anyone raided your boat, I guess.
No, the Thailand boat,
That's the only other
Captain.
boat you saw.
and
Okay.
he's the fishing boat. He knows all the location over there. So when we go in the boat, we feel like we're safe.
Because he don't take your money, nothing. They give you the
Right.
food, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of fish, right?
Amazing,
Yeah.
Was it just one man, or was it a whole crew?
The whole
The whole crew. No, when the fishing boat, it is always have to listen to the captain.
captain.
You don't listen to the captain. The captain tell all the other guys, throw this guy to the ocean. He will get thrown in the ocean. That's the same thing in the army. The commander tell you, go. And he said, no, I don't want to go. No, you don't want to go? Here, that's my book. He said, and you tell right away.
Okay,
Oh, sorry.
no,
I was just curious what the refugee camp was like. Did you have to, how long were you there and how did you live there? Did you have to build your own shelter?
14, I think I lived in refugee camp at 14 months, right? Yeah.
40 months?
14.
14, okay.
Yeah, you got to build your own shelter.
We need to wait for. I have a couple cousins in Virginia. They sponsor a come to Virginia, and her sister,
Oh, my sister husband, my brother-in-law, he's a Navy.
and he go to Hawaii.
and so you were
And
introduced,
after sister go to Hawaii, and then sponsor her mom, her father, sister, brother, and go to Hawaii too.
so did they leave the refugee camp before you did?
No, we did.
No, her sister first one, and we second one, because we all get married, we separate, this family, and her sister one family, and I got my family, and her father, mother, and
They should
some
use-
single.
You all the
but,
single
it's
can come with the
to
parent.
one, yeah.
You have the family, they have to separate. You one family, you one family like that.
So how did you leave Thailand for the US? And did you guys have any of your resources with you? Like, after you paid for the boat, did you still have
No money.
no money?
And then they give you food, and that time my cousin just in US send little bit money, like $100 for spend a little bit, yeah. And we got food. We don't spend money. Just every day they give you food and drink and go to check out everything, Yeah, that's it. We
That's a
stay
long
like
time
that.
to
Long
be
time.
there. How did you spend your days at the camp for 14 months? And do you have any memories of it?
Yeah.
I don't.
One thing lucky, we need, because we got 13 full family, 13 people, right? And her mom is a good business, and in the refugee camp opened the coffee shop, little bit small.
Good.
Yeah. The coffee shop, little small coffee shop, yeah, and we can some morning people come to drink, take coffee. Some people got money, not me, like most got money to and drink that coffee, and they got little money. I buy something extra like food, good food, little bit.
So it's like a little economy in itself, where they had a business and it helped the people in the camp?
Who owned the business?
Huh?
Whose business?
Grandma.
Grandma,
was-
my
It was your mom. So she,
Yeah.
had her own business. At the camp.
That's cool.
And then I'm the older in the family. So I have to tell all my brother, woke up in the morning
Ah, yes.
and
Why?
help me serving the coffee.
Uh-huh.
And the people in the outside the camp, they bring some ice, come in, run the front door of the camp and sell it. And I have to tell my brother, say, all right, we'll go pick up the ice.
Every morning. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And why right now he make coffee very good.
Oh, that's nice. So you're organizing everybody. Yeah.
No, because I'm the older one.
Uh-huh.
I'm almost like the leader in the family. I have to tell all my brother, okay, woke up in the morning, you're doing this, you're doing this, you're doing that. I'm the one makes the coffee. And
Did your father, and did they do well with the journey? Like, was everybody okay after you got off of the boat?
yeah,
In good health?
yeah,
We all okay, yeah. Whole boat, 195 people, okay.
Oh,
Wow.
wow.
197.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
197.
Okay, so then, how did you get from Thailand? I know that you had family in Virginia,
Yeah.
and you know, the United States interviewed you, so you
Yeah.
knew that, but how did you actually logistically get from Thailand to Virginia?
You mean like,
First, I told them I want to go to Australia
Uh-huh.
and the US and Canada. The 3 countries, pick one. And then the United Nations interviewed me. He said, oh, you serve for the South Vietnam, you're the army in the South Vietnam. You must go to US. I said, okay.
because I know my brother, sister will be in U.S. also in Virginia because on Virginia we got cousin and they will sponsor or come to Virginia.
But did you fly from Thailand to
Yeah.
Virginia?
Yeah.
Okay. That must have been nicer
Yeah,
than the boat.
From Bangkok.
From
Yeah,
Bangkok.
we go to Bangkok, from Bangkok come to England or somewhere and then
They
come back
start
to
over in England and then from England and then flying to the New York.
Yeah.
And then from New York, change the plane and come down to Virginia.
I remember the people come to get me from New York, they give me 10 cents or 5 cents. You go to the bus, drop down, and then
I think a quarter. That,
no, I don't know quarter. That's a long time ago, And I just remember that is that you go to the front
Into
bus,
the-
drop down, and then
jumping into the
then,
bus.
yeah, I will-
To pay your fare.
Yeah. That's
So what year is this when you're?
that year is 19.
79.
78.
When you got to the United States,
Yes, 79.
79?
December 79.
December
Yeah.
79.
We come in
So
after
you were in the
the,
camp for how long? How many years? 14 months, so like from 78 or 77, 79?
77, always in the camp.
Yeah.
And then over there, 14 months or 15 months, something like that.
Did they give you any kind of cultural exchange? You know, like, did they try to use any of that time to prepare you to live in the United States?
No.
No.
For us in the refugee camp, they said that whatever country they accept us, they bring us out of here. They say everybody happy.
They're just happy to be on the
Just,
way to have a peaceful life.
Just out of the camp.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what were your first impressions of Virginia when you arrived in the middle of the winter? Was it?
Yeah,
But we could winter time, right? But one church at the Veritagus, the church so nice. Kwan, because we come to the United States, I don't know English, and she go to school. I don't know how I help her, right? And on the church, the one lady, she already retired. She said she help her Kwan. When get homework, she don't understand, call her. She teach her Kwan.
So what was her name? What was?
Mary Tucker.
Mary
She already passed away a long
Oh,
time. She go to the church and it's on Dumbarton.
Yeah, Hatcher
Yeah.
Memorial Baptist Church.
Okay.
It's still there.
Yeah.
Yeah, she go to that church too.
And was
Yeah.
Mary, did she work with refugees or was she Thai? Did you
No,
say?
she retired. She just help Oh, her church sponsor one Vietnamese family live in next the house for the church, and they know we come to. They know we coming the nice day. That she said, okay, we help her. And sometimes you get paperwork, you don't understand, bring it for her. She tried to call and do everything.
Because the schools weren't prepared. Like nowadays, we have kids and they have all different languages and
Yeah.
that they.
But
will
that time
often-
different, yeah.
Yeah, no, it was all
And
English.
when Sunday, she said, come to my church. She teach her English, And the weekday, Tuesday and Thursday, we go to some school at night for like learn ABC, something like that. And morning we go to work, And nighttime we go to 2 hour school, And Sunday go to her church to teach her more English too, And my sister, she do all the paperwork for you don't understand things for her, and she tried to
She help.
She help.
She helped a lot.
Yes, yeah. She so
Where did you live? Did you live in an apartment or?
Yeah.
a house?
yeah.
Okay.
First one we live in apartment at Stapleville.
Oh,
Yeah, those Yorkshire apartments, it's no longer there, the Libby Mill area.
uh-huh.
Because my
Okay.
cousin live right there, they rent the apartment,
Uh-huh.
and for separate, and no furniture, nothing. We just go outside, look at some apartment, throw away the sofa, TV. We just go in, ask, do you don't want that, and we take that home.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it
That's a
must-
reason.
It must have been daunting to have to reestablish yourself in a totally new place where you didn't speak the language.
It's total like a newborn baby.
But one lucky about some small company, they said, oh, you don't know English, we still hire you, And okay, we go to work,
Where did you work?
Usually we work at clean up somebody's house.
Okay.
But I like it. You know why? Because they say, oh, you refugee camp, they give for us too much coal, sure, yeah. And I work for like 4 or 5 years. Yeah. Until I have the second, my
Your second child.
second child.
And were you working towards citizenship all of this time, or how did you guys approach citizenship?
What's that like?
Yeah, they had the test, but they don't have an immigration office in the Richmond. We have to run to the Norfolk. Either go to Norfolk or go in Washington DC. So now Washington DC is too much traffic.
Yeah, oh my God. Yeah. Totally agree.
So I say, well, when we're going to Washington DC, first of all, you got to find the parking. It's too many trouble. But you go into Norfolk, you pay for the parking. You get guaranteed you got a spot.
Yeah.
I said, now they go to Norfolk. So we go into Norfolk, take a citizenship test.
Yeah, we both. I think it's a 5 year later.
5 years.
It's
That-
in the,
5 years.
when was it, 80?
I forgot. 80s. Oh yeah. Yeah, because like the English is not very good, but when we go to work, like people taught me, try to like people talking and we understand, right? And the rating, we need to go to school, yeah, but not much, but better, yeah. And we take the citizenship. I'm not worried. I worried they told me the writing. After you finish, after test, the last one,
They want you right.
right.
Oh, so like an
they said,
essay?
yeah. He said like, you said how many children, you need to write how many children, yeah. But I got
You did it.
because the last is writing, you don't know what they told you right, sometimes, they say, how are you? This is easier, sometimes you don't know,
It could be
Could
anything.
easy,
It could
probably a
be a
little bit
different
hard,
world.
What was your question?
I,
I want to be the United States citizen.
Okay.
I say, oh, lucky they asked why the question I learned that a lot.
Prepare for it.
I say, well, you go take a citizen test because you want to be the citizen. They will ask you, I want to be the U.S. citizen. So I learned that word a lot. And then, who is the president right now? I said, those are the main things.
like after we vote from citizen, then we can apply Kwan for citizenship.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you didn't need to take it.
Yeah, that time,
Yeah.
yeah, under 18, she need to take, but she under, you know.
Every children under 18 don't have a citizen test because if the mother of the citizen, the automatic, all you gotta do is pay for the fee, and they become a citizen. It's not the father. The father don't mean nothing. And I said, well, that's good. We're doing one shot, the whole family together in one time. It's just like we get out of Vietnam, the boat.
Yeah.
And the whole family go in one shot.
Yeah, yeah.
So, you go.
Go ahead.
So what did you do when you worked in the U.S.?
Well, the first, we don't understand one word English.
Go to woodwork,
No, go to
go back there.
read the Lee. And the
You read
the top.
the Lee?
Yeah.
So
Read
you
the
did
Lee.
lawn work?
Huh?
Lawn work?
No, like four, Lee
Yeah,
from that,
Lee,
just,
And the fourth time, the Lee all over the ground.
Yeah.
And they said, there's some money running on the street. All you gotta do, go pick it up. So we cleaning people's yard on the south side. They got a big yard. And just clean up the leaf.
Yeah, and then, like you finish whole year, like they give you $20. That time $20 is a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, with 2-3 people, like work half a day, done. Only work on the weekend. Weekday we go to work, and weekend, Saturday and Sunday.
Oh, okay.
Work half a day, yeah.
Okay. So you had several different jobs all at the same time. Okay.
You need some money, you try to make up.
Yeah.
You don't want to survive, you want to get some money, buy food, you got to work hard.
Yeah.
I always told people, the money don't drop from the sky. You got to pay your labor, and then people pay you.
And after that, we tried, and he go to at night school, learn some machine shop.
Well,
Yeah, like,
I'm go to a technical center
yeah.
Okay.
and learn some machine shop.
Then after that, he find a machine job until retired.
What kind of machines?
And my company making part for, the old time, the Random Metal.
Old time.
The Reynolds Mills. like-
Yes, Reynolds Village, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We're making part for them.
Oh, okay.
For their machine?
No, they make out all kind of can,
Yeah.
like
Aluminum.
yeah, soft drink, beer can, all kind of things. As soon as they get something new, they give it for us to do it.
Then work for 35 years.
34 years and 7 months.
But before you did that, you did the wood shop.
Oh, before I work in machine shop, I work for the wood shop.
Wood shop. After, we tried the, like he worked on wood shop, and then got a good job with jump and then go to try to make more money.
I said, make
And-
more money so we can live in better.
And for me, I work, and I work, first one I try to clean up somebody's house, my full-time job. And after that, I work for UCA.
For who?
For
UCA.
UCA
Oh,
supermarket. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but you did, the paper,
Paper company for, and then I have
PC
LPC, and I work for some sewing,
company.
because I have the kid, I need to watch.
You need
Take
flexibility.
care, yeah.
Yeah.
He got the job okay, and mine is, I want some money, but I try to look at the hour good for me, yeah. And I work for sewing curd, just,
Curd.
yeah, curd
With the
at downtown, yeah.
Oh, curtain,
Yeah.
okay.
After that, I work for a printing company for long time ago. I don't remember the LPC, at La Burnham, yeah,
In Laverne.
at La Burnham Avenue. After that, I have the third kid. I got no money to pay for babysit, and I just he come home like 4 o'clock, and 5 o'clock I go to work for restaurant for 5 to 10.
Oh, really?
And
Wow.
yeah, and at night he take care 3.
Uh-huh.
I already cooked done everything for supper, yeah, and
Okay.
he take care at night,
Uh-huh.
and I come home for 10 o'clock. I got extra little bit money, right? Until my younger son go to first grade, because that time kindergarten only work to 12 o'clock, half a day. And my younger son, like morning, I take him go to church. Church got the preschool at Monument. And the big church at Monument in Libby, that one, they got the preschool for 3, 4, 5-year-old, yeah. And Monday to Friday, I take him go to preschool for 9 to 12. And at night, I go to work. And then until she turned 6-year-old, he turned 6-year-old, go to first grade, and he can go to
Full day school.
yeah. And that time I work from UCA, South Side, I work for UCA about like 19 something years, until UCA sold. They sold for Martin. And I worked for Martin for 7 years. And Martin sell for public. I worked for public
Okay.
for 5 years. And until I retired 2 years ago.
Well, you really
I
are
just,
to the grocery
I work
wars
for
in
public,
Richmond.
folks. It's a good company. Yeah. I work, when they hire me public, they hire me, I only can hire you part-time. If you come in good job, I give you full-time. I said, that's okay, because I need a job, because Kroger, they don't need me. That time Martin called too many people go to Kroger, Okay, I said, okay. I just wait 5 months later, and public open, the first public open at Lago Road. And they hired me. They saw me like too much experience, from UCA. And I worked from public like 8 months. He said, okay, good, I give you full time, because I need insurance.
Yeah.
That's a problem. And then I worked until I retired for last year. But right now I still go back to public work one day a week.
You work there 1 day a week?
Usually I work 3 days, and I said no, too much. And I work 2 days. And other people, that time I go back part-time, And but some people need hour. Somebody need hour. I said, okay, you can just give me 1 day, it'll be okay. because I got Social Security, right? And I just want one day, I get some hours for somebody. And they said, oh, good, okay. I just work 8 hours for me. I'm doing that. I still working.
I think it's hard to stop working.
Because inside people so nice,
Yeah.
manager, everybody so
Yeah.
nice. I said, okay, I
That's
keep
good.
that.
Do you work as a cashier? Or-
No,
No.
I work for project for, because public, they got cut food section. You see now, you know? Cut food on the inside, you know, every day cut fresh food, yeah. And I can do this one, you know, yeah.
So did you find a community within Richmond that you felt you fit into and like that you were able to maintain your culture and the, you know, things that you wanted to continue from the Chinese culture and the Vietnamese culture?
What that is,
Oh, I'll chime in on this.
Just-
Yeah, so, like I was saying, a group of us lived off that Staples Mill area, and so many of the refugees were living in Yorkshire and the suburban apartments. And so we all would help each other
yeah.
out. Whoever had the car was the person that drove to the grocery store, and would take everyone.
Yeah,
and
every
the
weekend,
kids
yeah.
would play together. And so, and there wasn't a huge community in the late 70s and 80s here in Richmond of just Asian community, except on Horsepen Road, where those markets and shops started building. And that wasn't far from Staples Mill area. So, so it was, and all of Mom's family, and first siblings, cousins. So we had a large family here. Dad's family was all in Hawaii. So it wasn't too difficult to stay somewhat immersed in the Chinese and Vietnamese culture.
So did you grow up multilingual? Did you grow up learning
Yes.
many languages?
Trilingual.
So when I came to the States, I knew 2 dialects of Chinese. And so Dad spoke one dialect, Mom's family spoke a separate one. And because most of Mom's family is here in Richmond, I grew up speaking more of Mom's dialect. And though I don't speak the one that Dad speaks, I understand it some. I never learned Vietnamese because that just wasn't spoken in the household. I mean, obviously they knew it because they grew up in Vietnam. And I got here when I was 4. And then the next year I was off to kindergarten. And so I started learning English. So it was just English and Chinese for the most part.
And where did you go to school in Richmond? Like from out primary
Yeah,
school?
from, it was in Henrico County the whole time. For elementary school, it was, I think it started off as Bethlehem Elementary. but
Yeah,
changed its
Bethlehem.
name to Johnson Elementary while I was there. And the ESL class was huge because all the refugee kids all went there. And then went to went to Chamberlain Elementary for a little bit of 4th and 5th grade, then Brooklyn Middle. And then we moved to the West End and went to Tuckahoe Middle and then Tucker High School. And there's actually a large group of refugees that all ended up going to Tucker and Hermitage High School also. So we all kind of just stayed in that vicinity.
Did you stay involved with the church that helped sponsor you? Or, you know, the,
Not as much. I think when we ended up moving, we were a little more out of touch with them. I think probably when I was in grade school, I tried to go to Sunday school and kept in touch. And there would be someone from the community that would pick me up and take me to the church. But I think by the time I got into middle school and then we had moved, I didn't do it as much.
you lost touch.
Yeah.
And then did you go on to college and?
Yeah. Went on to college, went to University of Virginia, and I didn't really know what to do. the individual, Mary Tucker, that she was talking about, I remember going to her house and she had a typewriter. And I typed my college application at her house. And I just remember I submitted to 4 Virginia schools and got into all 4 and then decided, okay, UVA it is. And so didn't go too far from home. And then stuck to Richmond for my first job and have stayed in Virginia and one other state majority of my career. Yeah, but Richmond, all roads lead to Richmond, Virginia. So that's just what it is.
What about your siblings? What did you have 2?
2 younger brothers,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
Yeah, so
So first brother was born in 84 and then the youngest one in 88. And the youngest one is still here, lives in the city, and then the other one moved to St. Louis.
That's right.
Okay. But yeah, they always come back and because family's here, yeah. So it's nice to see them when they do come back.
So, have you all ever returned to Vietnam?
never.
Never.
We
No.
think no.
No desire.
Well, I would, just because I don't remember it. I don't remember.
No, I can't. Right now, too many people go visit Vietnam, but I 40-some years, I
Never.
not go. But I just think visit like 1 week and then I will go somewhere. I not stay like 2-3 weeks. No, the first one too high, and I know I don't have family everywhere in Vietnam, just like, okay, visit 1 or 2 weeks and that's all, But 40-some years, I never.
See, for my family side, they all leave Vietnam, and her side, they
Yeah.
all leave Vietnam too. So we don't have to, for the sister over there. So I said, well, it's not necessary to go back.
Because the problem, we work only like 2-3 week vacation, and the summertime we need to take the kid go vacation, right? And like sometimes go we out stay, like California or Canada or somewhere, For every year we go together, and I said, I don't want to bring the kid go to Vietnam, get sick, the
medical system.
something not that good. I don't want they got sick and on Vietnam. Why I said no. I just until that because I need to after that they need to go college for 3. It's a hard time too.
That's a lot of money for 3 of them going to college.
And car, I said no. We just in United States, but each year we go vacation, but in United States.
Yes.
So my cousins on my dad's side, one of them already said to me, we're going to the motherland in a couple of years. And I was like, I'm all for it. So we're trying to get the whole family to go within the next 2 or 3 years.
Did
So-
you mostly go to the Saigon area?
Yeah, because for me, I'm the oldest, grandchild, if you will, on my dad's side. And that's so none of us have been. There are only 2 that were actually born in Vietnam. The rest of them were born in the States. And so we're all like, yeah, let's go. Because we haven't been and we haven't seen it. Though I'm sure it's changed a lot.
Oh yeah,
we
they
just gotta
change
get everyone's schedules together and the money to get over there.
And brace yourself, the traffic in Saigon is worse than DC.
That's a guarantee.
But when I see videos of the little motorcycles like going in every direction, that's a little scary. Yeah, they showed me pictures of, I think Dad had a motorcycle and Mom would ride in it, and somehow they put me on it. I don't know how.
Wow,
So,
that's cool.
but yeah.
So overall,
Okay.
what do you think of the U.S. military political participation in South Vietnam? Do you think that we should have been there?
But then, hold on one second.
Do you think the United States should have been in Vietnam?
Yeah, make
No, because
có hơi Việt Nam. Yeah.
Yeah.
the U.S. believe about the communists say, okay, you sign the paper, you say that, you will do it. But for the communists, are always doing opposite way.
Yeah.
They signed the paper in 1973, they stopped the war. And the next minute, they turn everything over. And then continue fighting until the April 30, 1975. The president said, no, they keep fighting like that, and all the men in the Vietnam should be dying for nothing. The Vietnamese killing the Vietnamese. So he said no. So he stopped, he get up. At that time we heard that everybody getting crazy. Said, man, why all of a sudden he get up and then we sprang for them? And my commander is a suicide. Because he born in the North Vietnam until he go in the officer in 54, somebody that is starting from the North Vietnam, he come down to the South. So he said, no, I don't believe the communists. And then the April 30, 75, he got suicide, one shot to the head.
Okay.
Well, different generation, and if they hadn't have come in, I wouldn't be here. So I, not to be selfish, but it's afforded me and my family a lot, which we may not have, probably would not have, if that didn't happen. So, yeah, it was one of those. It was interesting growing up during history class when the Vietnam War was the topic. You had a lot of points of view. And not everybody in my class, because it's not like, hey, this is where I'm from. But it was interesting hearing people's point of view about the war in class also. And I never really spoke up during that. I was at school, I was there to learn. But as you get older and these debates get bigger, you find your voice and to pick a side. And so I know also that as the war was going on here in the US, there was a lot of turmoil because of how people saw the war, saw our government, and what they thought we should have or shouldn't have done. And so in situations of war, there's a lot of turmoil and heartache and death, and a lot of bad is seen and heard. But there's a lot of good that does come from it also, but you don't always hear about it immediately, and it's years and decades later where you hear about the positive outcomes of it. So, sad situation, but there is good.
Yeah.
So,
I'm surprised your history teacher even made it to the Vietnam War. We never got past World War II.
I think this was, honestly, I think it was AP history.
Okay.
Probably my senior or junior year
Yeah.
in high school. So,
When you were you said it was interesting hearing those debates. Did you ever feel uncomfortable or?
yes.
Yeah.
There was one, and this was very vivid, because, we'd already talked about World War I and II, and so by the time we got to the Vietnam War, I remember this one kid He actually said out loud to the whole room that, oh, we should have just dropped the bomb
Mm.
on Vietnam.
Mm.
And that hit hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but I wasn't in a place to really say anything.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That-
There you go.
So, but, you know, I was 17 also.
Mhm. Yeah.
But yeah, that was difficult.
Yeah.
At UVA, did you find more like an Asian community there? Or a Vietnamese, even a more specific?
Actually,
Vietnamese
it was, I mean, UVA is very diverse, and so you eventually, just like with any institution, you find your own cliques. And interesting enough, my group of friends were not Asian. I had more friends that were primarily African American because we just connected in a different way at UVA. But then through my years, it just, my network diversified greatly. And so I could say, like, I have friends from all communities. And that's what I love about having grown up in Virginia, because now I've seen it grow and develop so much. And even though, you know, as you learn from history, that Virginia was part of the South, Richmond, all the history that comes from it. I'm still very proud of having grown up here and having gone through the education system here, and what I'm able to say that Virginia brings to the broader United States. Don't get me wrong, there's always things that can be better. And I'm one of those, I try to look at the positivity in all things. And that's why, after college and, you know, going through my career, I have been able to find my voice more, and working with companies and organizations around diversity, equity, and inclusion, and also within, I guess, the Commonwealth and somewhat of our political system. I now serve on our Virginia Asian Advisory Board to the governor, to represent the Asian community here in the Commonwealth.
Mm-hmm.
And be able to, you know, give advice on how to support the community and elevate our community also.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it took a while, but
That's awesome. That's really great.
Thanks.
Do you guys have a feeling about what the biggest, I mean, we kind of touched on this, but the biggest misconception about the Vietnam War is within your communities?
The biggest misconception about the war in our community. So interestingly enough, the war is not something that is spoken about within our families. Growing up in my generation, all my cousins, we may hear bits and pieces, but it wasn't one of those things that would come up as your...
People didn't have old war stories.
No, none at all, because of the deaths and different things that were experienced by the older generation. And so yeah, it hasn't really been talked about, except that it happened, and here we are now. And all that they did, you know, with my grandparents, parents, aunts, uncles, and what they all had to do to help raise all their children and create a livelihood for them in Richmond. Yeah. But what I appreciate is these stories being told, because there are a lot of individuals like my parents that don't get to share them and have kept it inside.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you both so much. I mean, this whole process of oral histories, it really has been kind of like people, they haven't been able to process their memories about the war. And it's, you know, sometimes it's the first time that they're talking about it.
That's right.
And, but I think the only way that you can learn from something and even just allowing your own personal self to move forward is just kind of speaking it out loud and, you know, having a sounding board to kind of say, you know, yes, that was your experience and
Yeah.
thank you for sharing it.
Yeah. So.
Do you guys, do you have any more questions?
I don't think so.
Annie?
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
we brought pictures, so could I?
She likes to video, you know, the people looking,
Yeah,
can tell us
yeah,
about.
so-
Lawrence and
I'd
California
love to
about
share, I'll
them.
share this one first,
But,
then we
yeah.
have a few pictures, so, my uncle, so mom's
brother.
brother, the one, remember early on, she said that the boat that didn't make it?
Yeah.
So my uncle, the one sibling that did make it from, that incident, he is in Richmond, and he ended up working for Hani, here in Richmond. And Hani is a German company, so this magazine is in German. So they let us borrow it. But there's an article in here about my uncle. It's all in German, but he did luckily print out the English version of it. And it tells the story of him being on the boat
Oh, okay.
and how it went down.
How to fly.
And, you know, and how he survived the wreckage of that journey to a refugee camp. And so we wanted you to
See that?
see
Yeah,
that,
you can
and
keep
then
them, yeah.
if you want to use it also of some, you know, but he has saved this. And so I read through it, and it's just amazing of how he survived through that wreckage. And unfortunately, my grandfather, mom's dad, and other siblings and their family didn't survive. So
It's hard to be the sole survivor, I mean, the survivor of guilt
Yeah,
in that
yeah.
kind of thing,
and he's younger than my mom. So that's so wanted to share that
so.
first.
Yeah.
So I didn't take all the pictures out of here, but as you can tell, these are very old pictures, and so we'll have to kind of go through. But this is
1975.
So this is my parents and their wedding in 1975. And so you can see mom and dad.
I love your veil. That's beautiful.
There, and then there's like pictures of like, you know, dad and his grandmother, his mother, his dad. So you can see like this one right here, that's dad's mother. She's the one that had the coffee shop at the refugee camp. And so like that's his dad, and they ended up in Honolulu, Hawaii, right? And we always joked because my grandma was so personable because she was a businesswoman. We joked that she was the mayor of Honolulu. She'd just walk down whatever street and everybody knew her. And then that is dad's grandmother. And dad was telling me that his grandma, you know, the Chinese tradition was to bind feet.
And the feet will be this side.
And so, because they bound her feet, he would have to carry her down in the mornings to, you know, get down the stairs because she couldn't walk. And so that's 3 generations right there at the wedding. They do there's some pictures here of the traditional Chinese tea ceremony. And so mom you'll see her in her white dress or white, and then her Chinese dress too. And just, I think I told you, Laura, but you know, our ancestry, our ethnicity is Chinese. And then they came down because of all the turmoil in China to Vietnam. And so that's why Chinese was spoken in the house for the most part. But then when they went to school, of course, they had to know Vietnamese. I think you also learned French at the time?
No.
What
Mandarin.
Mandarin? Okay. So dad knows like 3 dialects of Chinese, Vietnamese, English. I don't know what else.
That's all.
That's all enough.
The English was the last one.
So more photos, and then there's actually let me sort through it real quick. There are a couple. Oh, here, well, this one up here. There's dad and mom on his little. There's his little motorcycle right there. There they are too. And then this is mom's parents. So grandma, and then this was her dad who passed in the ship. But grandma, she just passed away, what was it, 4
4
years
years
ago?
ago
She
in
was
United States.
90, she lived to be
94.
94.
Mm.
And so she pretty much raised every grandchild in
Yeah.
Richmond. And then there are a couple from the refugee camp that I want to show you.
Yeah.
And sorry, it's not. Oh, I do love these pictures. So the apartments that we first lived in, these were like the 2 kids I was hung out with. But we would invite our neighbors over and sit on the floor and eat and that. And so we really enjoyed, just, we tried to have good times, where we were. So this right here is when we literally landed in Richmond in December.
That's in the airport?
Yes.
Okay.
This
It's
is
in
in the
Richmond,
airport,
okay.
like literally getting off. You had to actually step on the ground
Yeah.
off the plane back then. And there's me and my you
Cousin.
barely see me. I'm all like huddled up here. And there's dad with his hair.
Yes,
So,
yeah, mom.
and then I think mom's right there. And so then just our relatives that came, as you can see, it was around Christmas time because there's still a tree there at the airport. Some cousins, some aunts, uncles that greeted us when we first got there. And then it snowed, and so this was in front of the apartments. Just seeing snow for the first
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Were you like,
Only 2 days later.
Really?
Yeah.
And then this was in Thailand.
Yeah.
That's me.
Because
And
too
then
hot,
there's
yeah.
fishing boats and stuff, and there's me and dad also, and then this is, hold on. There is, so these pictures right here, when you get a closer look, this is actually on the beach in Thailand, and you can see right here, this is the South Vietnamese flag.
Yeah.
And so it's waving folks to say this is a safe place,
See
right?
the boat, so we look at the boat, we know that's the Vietnam boat.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody try to ring the flag and holler and yell and
Just
say,
come in,
in."
yeah, that's what it, yeah.
Yeah, so it's a welcoming
See,
sign.
this is the boat come in.
Yeah.
See, this is the South Vietnam flag. So if they saw the flag like that, they
They knew they
understand.
were
They know it's a
They
refugee,
are there
right,
to
yeah.
come in.
Yeah, and I think Dad said that this was
The coffee,
at the
what-
refugee
Yeah.
camp. This picture with his friends, I guess. And then with this one, and this is Dad and all his siblings. And where was this one in? Was this in Vietnam or?
it's, no, it's in
the
Thailand,
refugee
This is in
Thailand.
Thailand also.
You were telling them to get to work, right?
Well, they said,
Just,
Great. Oh gosh, it's falling apart. It's like early birthdays and just like our first car. Was that our car? I was like, I'm trying to see what all these pictures are. First, like Christmases and stuff. Sorry, they're all kind of mixed up here, but those were, going to DC. Dad had that 70s hair.
Yeah.
Going to DC and visiting family. I think that's most of the pictures.
This is Thailand,
Oh yeah, so these two pictures of me. Like, I told them, I was like, why do I look like this? I guess they just put whatever clothes they could on me. And I didn't have a lot of hair, but this was in Thailand.
yeah.
yeah.
And where was this one? Is this at the refugee camp?
Yeah, inside the camp.
Yeah, so that's me at the camp, also. And then most of, yeah, it's just us during our travels in the early eighties, going to see like family. So we have family
Anyway.
all over the world, right? Because of how we all left the refugee camp. And so his family, you know, his immediate family in Hawaii, mom's, we have a lot of family in California, Canada,
Australia,
Australia,
Norway,
Germany.
German.
Yeah. So
Oh,
just,
anyway.
just all over, which is great, right? But we just haven't visited a lot of them. Went to California to the Queen Mary. Yeah, so.
That's my grandfather friend.
So are those the people that first went to Vietnam? Or they,
No, this
They
is
were-
all passed away and
Yeah, but were they born in China?
They born in China.
China.
Yeah.
then they
so-
emigrated.
And then
Wow.
they went down
Move
to.
to Vietnam for
Because
business.
the
Yeah.
Japanese war,
Yeah.
the Japanese fighting to China, and then my grandfather
China.
said, okay, let's go.
Go to Vietnam. Yeah.
And then the
Because that-
Japanese invaded Vietnam.
So I brought this picture because, so this is, my mom like has one of these for each kid. I was born without much hair.
Because-
And for whatever reason, they decided they needed to put a wig on me. But the funny thing is, there are friends that I have that have pictures of themselves when they were in Vietnam, and I don't know why, they're all in this chair. I was like, we couldn't see for time. So baby picture, but this picture right here is what I wanted to show you. So this was the passport picture for when we left Thailand.
Thailand. Yeah,
So
that's
cute.
And I was like, look at that mugshot. So there are other pictures just kind of throughout. So this right here.
In Thailand.
So on dad's side of the two grandchildren, I'm the oldest, and then my cousin Jeffrey was like a year behind me. So we were the two that were born in Vietnam and left. And yeah, that's me in Thailand.
No,
So I
that's
have,
Thailand.
yeah. So I don't remember it, but they
You have visual
these
documentation.
pictures exactly. So and then this was kindergarten and first grade. So I ended up repeating first grade. It's because it was such a struggle to learn, and because this I probably didn't know any English in this in kindergarten, and somehow they were like, yeah, you can go to first grade. So I'm in first grade, and it was really hard, so I repeated it. And the good thing is that second year of first grade, I was like, oh, I got this. And then it was just
You took
really
off from there.
smooth sailing. I was in the talented and gifted program, in elementary school, and then kind of went from there.